my beautiful loves, and welcome to Spiritualista. So today we have one of the most requested readings that I have received on my channel all the time, and it is all about your future spouse. So who is the person? Do you know already? Do you have your suspicions? Or are you just kind of open-minded to it and want to find out more details? We're going to be deep diving today into this. Who are you likely to build a connection with, a lasting partnership with, the energy that the person carries, the kind of relationship that you're going to share together, the emotional impact that this connection is going to be meant to have on your life, what you're going to learn from this person, where you're likely to meet this person. Also, I have a little fun things here and there, which are the appearance cards from my Who Is It Oracle that we're going to be looking into the end, just to get a few little hints on what this person might look like. And as you can see here, I brought out the Scrabble again. It's been a while since I've seen the Scrabble, so this is just to make an attempt to see perhaps some letters, some initials, something like little hints here and there that you can see perhaps the name of your future spouse as well. Okay, so we're going to be exploring all of that, especially with the tarot here. It's going to be more about their personality and the way that they'll experience you emotionally, and again, like how you're going to meet, the kind of relationship dynamic that you're going to have together, and what this connection is ultimately meant to teach and transform within you. Okay, so for each pile, we have little placeholder images here as well as little heartbeats. So if you haven't chosen already through the thumbnail, feel free to pause the video and do so now. We have pile number 1 with this little pink vase here with the flower as well as the blue heart. Pile number 2 has this abstract little floral shape and the purple heart. And then pile number 3 has the good vibes little branch and the red heart. And try not to overthink it too much, because usually your first instinct will already know which message is waiting for you in which pile, okay? And if you do feel drawn to several piles, that does happen. It's okay. In that case, there might be more messages waiting for you there, so you can check those out as well. So let's talk about the questions that we're going to be looking into today. So the first one out is, who is your future spouse at their core? Second one is, what makes your future spouse stand out from other people that you've met? 3 is, what is their current energy or life situation right now? 4 is, how will your future spouse feel when they first meet you? 5 is, how are you most likely to meet or recognize each other? 6 is, what kind of relationship dynamic will exist between the two of you? 7 is, what lesson or transformation will this connection bring into your life? And finally, 8, what will your future spouse eventually confess or openly admit to you? Okay, so just a quick reminder here, as always, that this is a general reading, so it may or may not resonate with everybody, because I have a lot of people watching this video, so of course, that's what happens with the generals. But however, I do have an Etsy shop, so if you do want to book your own personalized deep dive reading, the link to that is below. But with this general one, make sure to take what aligns with you and then just leave the rest, okay? And I've also added the timestamps both in the video description as well as in the pinned comment, so you can go straight to your pile. So now is a good time to take a deep breath and tune into your intuition to make sure to choose the right pile for you, and let's meet your future spouse. Hello, pile number 1, and welcome to your reading. So if you chose this image here with the pink vase and this little branch here, you think it's a palm. I have one that actually looks a lot like this at home. And maybe if you chose this little blue heart here, hopefully this reading will be resonating with you today. So let's get started. We have 8 cards, 8 tarot cards, and additionally 3 of the appearance cards here that we're going to be looking into at the end of the reading. So if you haven't seen my readings before, I do keep all my cards facing down, just simply because I do feel very overwhelmed and I tend to get a little bit distracted when I have them all facing up. So this is just for me to be helpful so that I can really tune into the energy of the specific card corresponding to the specific question, right? And if you're wondering about the questions, maybe you skipped the intro. In that case, if you want to know in advance, I have them in the video description as well, if you want a little bit of a spoiler as to what we're going to be asking the cards today. Otherwise, just, maybe pause the video, go grab yourself a little snack, a little drink, a little cozy blanket, something to make you feel comfy, and let's get started with your reading. So we have the first question of the day, which is, who is your future spouse at their core? Okay, so first one out is this here. Good start. 2 of Cups, nice. I feel like they're the marrying type. First of all, they are someone that really values connection. They're likely very romantic as a person. I'm sensing like a white picket fence energy, like a family energy. Likely they want to have kids, They just really, really value connection, and they feel like very, very relationship oriented, and yeah, they really genuinely want partnership and they want to be close to someone, you know, they want to have that mutual understanding in their life. I feel like this is a person that might have had very short periods of time in their lives where they have been single. You know, they might be the person that really enjoys being in connections and don't really enjoy to have a lot of alone time. You know, they, yeah, also within those connections really care about not feeling disconnected in the relationship. Like they want to be with the person that really vibes with them, that really gets along with them, that they can discuss things with. Like they don't want a partner that just sits in another room watching television and they're doing their thing, you know, and it's just that disconnected energy where they just talk about the weather, you know, what's going on at work today. Like they want a more romantic type of connection. I feel like also very loving, very passionate, and also very sexual, you know, so it's just a person that wants to be really close to you, like really close to you in all sorts of way here, you know, just like really emotionally present, like discussing your emotions, discussing the connection, the relationship, like evolving with one another. You know, they really want to meet their match. And I feel like they're always seeking and they haven't been able to find that person just yet. So, because it's you, you know, it's you. This is your person here. So with you, they're going to be very affectionate. You know, they're going to be capable of just developing a very strong bond, I feel, very quickly with you, and it's going to be sincere, so you don't have to worry about that if you pick up on this person being like oh man, like it feels like almost like a love bombing energy, because it's just like so intense. Like I feel that there's such a strong romantic connection here. I'm not sensing that it's going to be due to control or trying to manipulate you, because there is a softness that you're going to sense with their energy here, where yeah, they're going to be very sincere, you know, and honesty is very important to them, I feel, and communication is going to be very important to them here. So yeah, like it's going to feel very natural to connect with them, and it's going to be very natural for you to want to be around them. It's not going to be a thing where like you have a long distance relationship or anything like that where you guys are not speaking every day. I feel like it's just like it's going to feel very significant, and also it's going to feel very life-changing for you both. So this is very like twin flamey, very soulmatey, this energy where you both help each other expand, you know, you help each other just connect with your shadows as well. It's not just positive stuff, you know, but it's also the depths of the connection that are going to just, of course, mirror things within one another. And you're going to do so respectfully in a way that is like non-toxic in that sense, you know. So yeah, I feel it's mature, you know, they're very emotionally mature as a person, and they really value someone that has that same aspect of themselves, that isn't running away constantly from intimacy, you know, isn't afraid to commit and stuff like that, because this person for sure is not with this card here, okay? And so the next one is, what makes your future spouse stand out from the other people that you've met before? Okay. That is very interesting. So 10 of Wands, very heavy card. I feel like first of all, like it's a card about endurance, right? It's a card about like carrying a very heavy load, like overworking, burnout energy, which is why I'm initially a little bit confused seeing this here. Because yeah, I feel like they have carried a lot in their life. You know, they do have quite a bit of struggle in their backpack that they might still be carrying here, you know, and they do have a lot of responsibility around that as well. It has made them more endurant as a person here. So I'm not sensing that they're going to be necessarily someone that is going to be whiny and like a complaining type of person that's going to be always sort of dwelling on their pain, you know, and just focusing on their negatives, focusing on the past a lot, and being like feeling like a victim to their circumstances and stuff like that, you know. But it's more a person that has become very strong due to their experiences, and through those experiences, you know, that's what has built up their muscles throughout time. And now they can take that and they can use that to keep evolving themselves, but also to help other people that are still in the present moment going through the same types of struggles that this person has dealt with before. You might even be one of them, by the way, so they might be able to help you out with that, you know, because I feel like this for them started on early. I'm getting a childhood vibe from this. So it could be a family thing, it could be a family disconnection, it could be a loss of someone here that they had in their life, a family member, a close friendship that they lost, that likely passed away, that was very close to them. And it's like it's a very big grief. I'm sensing a very strong grief from this here, that is something that really took them years to process, and they're still processing that, you know. So it happened early on is what I'm feeling. I'm sensing a younger energy here. So they've been carrying this pressure for their whole life. Like, it started on early and they had to learn how to keep going, even with this, like even when things felt really heavy, even with the memory attachments to this event, you know. And I feel like because of that, they had to change a lot and they had to mature a lot. They had to grow up very early, you know, they had to take responsibility very quickly. They had to take care of other people that were involved in the same situation that also got affected by this, you know, and were mourning the situation and stay strong, you know. So I feel like they take these responsibilities very seriously, and when they do commit to something, they keep going. They don't just like bail out, you know. They're not a quitter sort of person. They're not a person that just like does a little bit and then just takes a long break and then goes back and does a little bit more and then takes a long break. I feel like it's like, yeah, they work hard, you know. It's just a person that is very, very serious. They have a very big follow-through energy. Like, they show up, they handle their responsibilities, you know. They don't disappear the moment that something becomes difficult, you know. They don't run away from that. They're not running away from their struggles, you know, and they're not trying to distract themselves from those struggles. So, and I feel like at the same time, there is a little bit of an emotional side here as well, because they're still carrying this. So I feel like they have a tendency to want to deal with things by themselves, you know, and carry a lot of stuff alone, and feeling like they have to like hold everything together, you know. They can't show a lot of vulnerability with people, and I feel like that's something that they're still learning, that they're still evolving. I'm just saying like that they're maybe not the most keen on going to therapy. I'm sensing that this is the type of person that would rather just like read a self-help book perhaps, you know, or just like, yeah, revisit stuff within themselves, maybe journal, you know, but just, it's more like an internal process type of person that I'm seeing here. It's not a person that would actively go out and just seek help outside of themselves, you know, and ask for guidance from other people. So I feel like you are the one that's going to activate that more emotional side of them, where they are more comfortable opening up and sharing about their trauma. And with that being said, I know some people feel like, you know, this is not my job. I'm not supposed to be like a free therapist for this person, you know, because it does happen sometimes, especially when we are more spiritual, when we have a healing energy, that people sometimes do take advantage of that, and they do approach us just for the purpose of getting free counseling. So in this case, I feel that it is very different, because it's not just going to be a random stranger, you know. It's not going to be a person that is just like only coming to you to consult when things are going bad and to complain and to unload, you know, all their pain onto you for you to help them out. But this is your life partner. Like, this is your spouse. This is a person that you're going to care very deeply about, that you're going to love, that you're going to want to see evolve, and you're going to see them in a better place. So in the same way that they are going to help you with their aspects that they have evolved and they have learned to develop this resilience here, I feel like you're going to help them just open up a little bit more and be okay with showing that more softer side of themselves that is still there, but is a little bit hidden, like under wraps. They're not entirely comfortable showing this at this moment in time, you know, and they're preferring to be more independent here. So yeah. So they're trying to be very reliable, and they're trying to be very available for everyone else, even when they're in pain. And I feel like they're going to need someone to be by their side that is also available to them, that is also helpful and just there to support them as well, okay? And so what is their current energy or life situation right now in the present moment as we speak, as we do this reading? So, ooh, yeah, man, like they are so much the relationship type, like very, very much so. Oh, I have the dice, by the way. Let me check out the dice. Sorry, I normally don't do this, like these interruptions mid-reading. This is my little trinket box with like all my little bottles and stuff, my rings. It's my little YouTube box. So I have these little dice here, and this is the one that I was looking for. So this is the zodiac dice, because I just want to see what their sign is. Okay, so I'm just going to do one quick little one here. Cancer. Okay. So Cancer, and let's see if we get one more, because I want to get one for Sun, Moon, and Rising. So let's see here, Aquarius energy there as well. And then the third one, we've got, all right, so Leo energy here as well. So that's a wild mix. Okay, so first out, we got Cancer, which is the water sign, which is this emotional side to them. And then secondly, we have Aquarius, which is this more independent streak that I was talking about, like just wanting to deal with things by themselves, feeling a little bit, you know, unusual, like not a person that can sometimes connect with everybody. You always feel a little bit like an outsider. And then we have the Leo, which I feel is very connected here to this aspect of just being the person that like on the surface looks fine, you know, just like it's kind of on stage pretending that, you know, no, it's like I'm not affected. It's like I can still keep going, you know, I'm still gonna do my hard work. I'm still gonna push through, right? So it does make sense. So I'm gonna keep this here for the next piles because I was intending to use this, but then I totally forgot about it. So now we have it there. Okay, so let's see. The next one that we have is what is their current energy or life situation, right? So that is the Four of Wands, which is, yeah, like they have a very strong focus about home, right? About just like building foundations, like security, you know, just having a life that feels very grounded, very like emotionally stable, you know, no drama. I feel like right now, because this is a like present moment card, they could be in the middle of a move and sensing that there could be like a relocation energy to them right now where they're trying to settle into a new environment, you know, and they're trying to reconnect with themselves, maybe reconnecting with their roots, you know, maybe moving somewhere that is close to where they grew up and just like, yeah, trying to also establish some balance in their life when it comes to their work and their normal like free time, you know, just having a healthier work-life balance, you know, just like trying to create more peace and more consistency overall in their personal life here. So that is the energy, and I feel like they are in quite a calm state, even if there is always a little bit of stress, especially if they're moving somewhere. There's always that stress element involved in doing a big move. But in this case, I feel like they are very calm right now. So compared to this heavy energy here that they have been through in the past, I feel like this is someone that is coming into a more stable chapter after carrying a lot of things for a long time in their past, you know. So now, again, I feel like they're wanting to settle down and they're thinking really hard about, you know, partnership and just wanting someone by their side. And not necessarily that they're just obsessing about this, you know, they're on Hinge, they're on Tinder, they're on all the apps, like looking for their partner and just like, yeah, desperate in any sort of way like that, you know, that it's just something that is like this huge thing for them, that I feel like they are aware that they are feeling lonely, that they're not feeling entirely happy being alone, that they're looking for someone, like they want to feel safe with you, and you know, they don't want like temporary relationships, like they don't want just like, yeah, the long distance stuff, like the weekend stuff, you know. It's just like they want to be with someone that they can wake up with every day, they can have breakfast together with you, you know, they can pick you up from work, or you know, just like hang out with you, just do things with you, do fun things together, go out, you know, discover things, travel together. So it's just like, it's a very social energy. They want to be social with you, they want to celebrate with you. It's like a celebration card, it's a party card, like they want to have fun with you, you know. So I feel like they're doing that already with other people, like they are attending like different gatherings, you know. It's summer, or at least almost summer in a big part of the world right now, so they're likely going out more and just, yeah, trying to build little communities, you know, instead of being more isolated, which I feel like they have been here in the past. So now they feel more grounded than before, you know, and they're seeing that, and that's like, it's nice to have people, it's nice to have friendships, right? But it's not exactly the same as having a life partner by their side. So there is still that missing link, you know, that missing little piece that is you, you know. So they're seeing that, and they want to get into a serious relationship that they could grow with and that could be long lasting. So that's definitely a really big focus for them with this card here. And for the next one, we have how will your future spouse feel when they first meet you. So this is almost trying to flip. Okay, so the Hierophant there. All right, so this can be so many things though. Like the Hierophant, of course, like I don't want to be repetitive, it's always that, it's marriage, it's tradition, you know, it's orthodoxy, it's just by the book sort of energy. So it's a very serious card again, so we have to go back to that, just being very serious as a person, you know. And I feel like they're going to take you very seriously, and they're going to sense something about your energy that feels very different to them from the other people that they've met before and that they're still meeting here through the socialness of the 401. So with you, is going to feel more meaningful, and it's going to feel more aligned with the kind of relationship that they see for themselves and that they want to have long term. So it doesn't feel like a connection that they're going to automatically place in the category of something temporary or something like a situationship, you know. But it's quite the opposite with you, because when they meet you, I feel like they're going to recognize you. It's a soulmate thing here with these two cards. So they're going to sense something there that is internal, it's a soul thing, you know, where it's immediate. It's like a love at first sight thing. And they know that you can become someone very important in their life. So they're going to take this very seriously, and they're going to really respect that. They're going to understand that, and they're going to want to go with that, you know. So they're going to admire you. They're going to admire what this, it's a lot about values. So I feel like you're going to have very similar values, very similar ways of looking at life, you know, similar levels of intelligence, you know. So there's no like competing with one another. You rather just like you complete one another, you know. So it's going to be a thing where like they are good at certain things, you're good at certain things, and you're teaching each other. So there's not that challenging aspect of one person being like intellectually dominant over the other one, you know. And it's just, yeah, you feel trustworthy, they feel trustworthy, you know. It feels like you can have good talks, good conversations, and just, yeah, it's nice. It's going to feel nice. It's going to feel very balanced, is what I'm sensing here. And like at the first time, I feel that they can get a little bit intimidated by this, because it's going to feel so serious, and it's going to feel like almost a little bit overwhelming to meet you and be like, man, like this is the one, you know. I can sense that there is something here that is very, very strong. And, you know, they instinctively know that this connection could become very serious, you know, very quickly, and they start falling in love with you. And I feel like they're going to do so very, very fast. So to them, it could be like they are trying to tone that down a little bit, because they don't want to scare you off, you know. They don't want to present themselves as a person that is desperate and that has that awareness that like, man, you're my soulmate. Because of course, like, it is a little bit freaky when we meet someone and like at the first date, this person is like, oh, like I feel that you're the love of my life. You know, we can get a little bit skittish around that. It feels like love bombing for sure. It feels like, man, you're taking things very fast right now. I hardly know you. I don't even know your last name. Like, so it's that. I feel like they are going to really try to put on the brakes, because they're going to sense that you're going to get freaked out, you know, if they present themselves to feel for you as strongly as they do. But it's still going to be there. It's still going to be there, but they're going to try to just filter it out a little bit, so they don't appear to be too much or like too excited about meeting you. So it's going to feel a little bit like, yeah, skittish, you know, and just, yeah, hard for them to know how to navigate this, because it's going to feel very strong. So yeah, but that's because they want this, you know. And when they finally meet you, it's going to be like, man, yeah, for sure, this is where I can actually find this, the outcome that I've been looking for here. This has so much potential. So they're not going to want to lose you, and it's going to really scare them to even consider that could be a possibility, depending on what they say or how they present their energy. So it's going to be, yeah, a little bit intimidating. I feel like they might get a little bit freaked out by that. And so how are you most likely to meet or recognize each other? Let's see. The Death card. It's okay. Yeah, okay. Like, what I'm getting about this is that there's going to be something that happens in both their lives, but also like in your life, that is going to be a major thing, like a major transition period. And it's not at all going to be during a phase where things are going like calm, you know, like I was going to say going well, but like going calm. It's not going to be like a stagnant phase. It's not going to be like a just one of the days, just like all the other ones, you know. Things are a little bit okay. Things are a little bit boring. I'm not sensing that this is going to be a person that, you know, they come into your workplace when you're just having a boring day and you're just sitting there and like, it's whatever. But it's going to be something that is huge, okay? That is your sign. So I feel like, for example, like they're moving, right? So that's an energy that is a little bit of a bigger category. It's a big change, right? Or it's going to be happening during a career change, or one of you is moving through a breakup, right? Or just like there is a lot of healing involved in the period where you're at, you know. So it's just something that is going to be a huge transition energy, like a very big reinventing of some part of both your but also their lives, and then you're going to come together in that. And I feel like that's why this energy, like it's going to be feeling very transformative for both of you, because you can both help each other out with this, and you can both resonate with just, wow, things kind of becoming suddenly upside down, you know, and just like, man, what is going on here, right? What the hell is going on? It's almost like a COVID sort of energy, like when things just like, wow, like for overnight become really massive, like something really big happens, okay? And it doesn't have to be a global thing, but I feel like it's more going to be a personal thing that's going to be on your side, but also on their side here. So very, very powerful, but it doesn't have to be a COVID thing. So don't freak out about that being like something that is like bad or chaotic in any way, but it's, yeah, very transformative, very, very powerful. It's going to be something that impacts you, it impacts them as well. And that's going to have the connection itself feel like it has a very big impact, where just meeting this person is going to immediately change your perspective on relationships and on yourself, right? And what this person could bring, like how this person can be helpful and what you can do to them to help them as well. So it's definitely not like a random, like passing, boring interaction, like day-to-day sort of thing, so you're not going to meet each other like randomly just walking to the supermarket is what I'm feeling. So like, I mean, it could be that, but it has to be in that case when it comes to just the energy overall of you both moving through a bigger transition here. So there's a very strong sense of like fate or timing going on here, where it's, yeah, like an ending of sorts that you're both moving through. And then when you do that and you both, and I feel metaphysically what's going on here is that you're both going to have to release something that you still have attached to your energies. And that's to make space so that you can find each other. So once you do that, the universe is like, okay, good. So now there is space on this side and on this side. So now let's link up, And so that's going to be immediate, is what I'm sensing, where as soon as you both release this, you're going to be like magnets, and it's going to feel out of nowhere. And it's going to feel like, wow, immediate recognition. Like it's going to feel intuitively very like, okay, this is undeniable. This is a person, right? So yeah, very, very different, very, very faded, okay? And what kind of relationship dynamic will exist between you? So strength, okay. All right, so very grounding as a relationship, So not necessarily that it's going to be like perfect, right? It's not going to be this like super boring, almost like there's no challenges at all, But it's very built around loyalty, and it's very built around patience, right? And just learning how to support each other through these hardships, through difficult moments, right? Instead of running away when things become more uncomfortable, right? You're still going to be resilient with one another, and yeah, just very calming for one another. I feel like you're going to calm each other down. So I feel like it's something that either one or both of you have experienced relationships before that have felt very unstable and really, really hard. So this connection is going to feel very different from that, and it's just going to be less games and less just trying to win, fights and just chaos and inconsistency and uncertainty and all that. It's just going to be very healthy, just something that just teaches both of you how to feel safe while still being able to be yourselves, without having to pretend or adapt to the other person so that they're going to accept you and they're not going to leave you. So yeah, it's going to grow stronger over time, instead of just fading once that initial excitement here sort of settles down, you start like losing interest for one another. I feel like this is just going to be, first it's going to be that attraction point, but then after that there's going to be a lot of endurance there as well. And so it's going to feel very long-term, like very, very loyal, very supportive, and yeah, so yeah, it's going to be just growing and just evolving into different levels of improvement over time, And what lesson or transformation will this connection bring into your life? 3 of Wands. Yeah, like you're going to travel together. So I'm sensing here, like you're going to be going on trips. You're going to be discovering new places. You might have that in common already, where you're very more like adventurous. You're like hanging out, in different countries, learning different cultures and languages, and just like, yeah, like it's going to be expansive, and it's going to be expansive in this world sort of way here, like even like could even be like emotionally, spiritually, like it's just always pushing you beyond your limits, and just you have this mindset right now as you're watching this, and I feel like when you are with this person, it's going to be vastly different than when you're sitting here taking this in the present moment, and you're just going to have gone through so much growth with them, and just they're going to encourage you to do that, and they're going to encourage you to think bigger, to believe more in yourself, to follow your dreams, to just set up better goals or like bigger goals without thinking that they're not realistic, and travel more, just take more risks. So they're going to believe in you, and they're going to make you believe in yourself and believe that you have the possibility to do those things that you might have pushed to the side because you felt like it was unachievable or like unreachable for you, so they're going to be like, no, dude, like you can do it. It's not unrealistic to set up really big goals for yourself. Like, I'm going to help you out to achieve those goals. Like, I just see that potential in you. So yeah, like it's going to be you learning how to do that as well. And I feel like with this person, you might also move abroad, just saying. Like, you're not going to have a long distance thing, but like you might do this together where you both relocate. You know, you both travel. You might travel for a longer period of time. You might visit different countries and live there for a while, you know, and just experience different cultures. I'm sensing that a lot about just cultures and just enjoying hanging out in different cultures and learning about those here. So it's just all about expansion, like all about transforming and learning, you know, and just taking in new information that isn't just the regular routine-based one that is based off of the location where you live, you know. So just allow yourself to visit new places and like take in that info from new territories and just staying open-minded to that and just learning new things, right? And so it's a lot broader than what your life is right now. And it's going to be definitely when this person enters, this is going to start happening here. They're going to expand you a lot and very quickly so. And what will your future spouse eventually confess or openly admit to you? Yeah, so see, Eight of Cups is that like they are carrying stuff, right? Like I said, they have these vulnerabilities that they feel like, I don't know who I can share this with. I'm not sure if I can trust this person enough. I'm not sure if they're gonna, you know, leave me, turn their back against me if I do, or find it that I'm weak, you know, or that I'm a person that doesn't know how to handle pain, right? So you're gonna change that, and they're gonna start admitting that when they met you, you were the one that was responsible for just changing the direction of their life here emotionally. And just like, I feel like before they met you or before they meet you, they will have spent a long time just trying to survive things, you know, just being really stuck in this event here that happened. And now I feel like you're going to inspire them to walk away from these parts of their life, their old life, that are not aligned with who they are anymore and are just being like a struggle for them, like a weight that's weighing them down, that's a burden for them, you know, any sort of pattern that they have that isn't healthy, you know, and any sort of avoidance that they have. Especially, like I said, like you're both coming from a past where I'm feeling like you might have had unhealthy relationships here. I feel like that's a big one too. So it's going to be that you both are like, oh, this is nice, actually. Like, I like it being so peaceful. Wow, you know, this can actually make me happy. It's not boring. It's not something that I feel like it misses the spark just because it's not always us fighting and stuff like that, you know. So there's that. And also just the vulnerability here where I feel like, yeah, they are carrying so much heaviness here, and they're making themselves lonely, feeling that, likely because they don't want to just kind of put that on other people. And you're going to be okay with that. You're going to help them process that, you know. So they're going to feel this big safety around you. And also with that, they're going to confess that they were very scared of what they were feeling before, you know, and they were also very scared about what they felt for you initially. So this is when they're going to complain about that like, I always knew that it was you. I just felt that, you know, it was kind of in the beginning of our connection. I didn't want to scare you off. I didn't want to say too much, you know. So, but at the same time, yeah, it is the truth. Like, I've always known. I still remember exactly the day that we met and what it felt like to me and how it felt like very emotional and very transformative for me, like from that point in time until now. So very romantic, guys. So yeah, you're both going to change each other, but that's not a bad thing, okay? Because like it's a necessary evolution, and you're both going to be catalysts for one another in doing that, you know. So let's take a look at your cards, your little oracles here. So these are just appearance cards, okay? So let's see the first one out. We've got freckles. Oh, that's cute. I love freckles. Okay, so second one out, we have European. Okay, so someone maybe that lives in Europe or has a European descent. And then we have brown eyes. All right, so those are the little hints here and there that this person might have. You know, they might have noticeable freckles, which is really, really cute. You know, maybe they like being out in the sun. You know, maybe they have little, like, what do you call it? Is it like little dots? Like this little thing I have here. I'm like, I always say English is not my first language. This, I think, is a little freckle. They have these little things on their skin, and they might have European ancestry, you know, and this too could be about you living abroad. Maybe you're going to travel Europe as well. There is a connection to Europe here, you know, and the lifestyle of Europe. And yeah, and brown eyes. What can I say? That's brown eyes. So let's check these out here. And just a disclaimer, I don't play a lot of like word feud and stuff like that. So I'm not the best with Scrabble, which is why I don't use them so often. But I'm just gonna lay them down. Let's put them here actually. And if you see a name here, feel free to write it in the comments, because I'm gonna try and see if I can see anything. But sometimes my mind gets really stuck with creating words out of these letters. So perhaps if you already know this person, if you're already suspecting who this could be, then you might see their name here or their initials here. Lots of E's today. Wow. Okay, so we have key and we have D. Okay, so this is hard, and then P. Let's see. Well, okay, I have to put them down here too as well, so that we can fit them all into frame. Oh, U. And then another E. Man, so many E's. So Sue. Okay, that's a name. And then F. And the last one here is R. All right, so Sue. And then, of course, Rue. If you watch Euphoria, that's Rue. We have also D here as well. We have Peter. And that's another one. I think I mentioned Peter in another reading that I did last week too. And of course, Pete is one of them. Peter without the R. What else do we have? We have, did I see a U? Yeah, there's a U here. So Kurt, like Kurt Cobain. We have, there's a W there. So wait, D-R-E-W, so Drew. That could be a male and a female name. Also, there's so many E's. So, I mean, R-E-E-S-E, so Reese. That's another one. We have, Esther, right? Esther. Also, R-O-S-E, Rose. We have that one as well. We have, I'm not sure if, like, Wes, I think that's the name, right? W-E-S, Wes, as well. And, yeah, T, that's not a name, that's the golf thing. But again, I'm not the best at Scrabble, okay? But I bet that there are a lot of people that are. So, yeah, type it in the comments below if you feel like you can see a name here that I missed. Then for sure, let me know, because that's going to help me improve this as well. And that's pretty much your reading, guys. So we have it all here. We have the appearance, we have the personality, we have the events, we have the potential names, the initials, and also the zodiac signs that I almost forgot to bring out here. So if this reading resonated with you, feel free to like it and subscribe to the video if you feel comfortable doing so. And also, of course, it's always lovely to receive comments. So if you want to do that, if you feel like this sounds familiar, if you want to claim this, if you might know this person already, who knows, you know, you might have them already like a little bit at a distance, like wondering if it's them. So now you might have your confirmation here. And also, if you felt drawn to another pile, you can check the timestamps in the description or in the comments and explore that one as well. And thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye! Hello, pile number 2, and welcome to your reading. So if you chose this image here with the abstract flower, I think it's a hibiscus. It looks like one to me. Or perhaps if you chose the little purple heart, hopefully this reading will be resonating with you today. So I'm super excited about this one, like super, because I just did pile 1, and man, I had so much fun. Oh, such a fun reading. I mean, I normally never use the Scrabble. I've used them once before, and now they've just been laying there because I feel so insecure about Scrabble. I wasn't like, I know that there was a while there that it was really trendy to be playing like Word Feud, that app where you can use these letters to put words together. I never got to using that, so I'm not the best at like envisioning names and stuff, but I think I did a pretty decent job. So yeah, maybe like I said, if you see other names showing up that I don't necessarily mention in the video, feel free to write it in the comments, but I will be attempting these little letters again in the end just to see who your person is, if we can get more hints and more indicators. Also, we have this little dice here, It's a zodiac sign dice. But first, let's start with the tarot as well as then finish off with the little oracle cards or the appearance cards. So it's like the most full spectrum reading we can possibly do in regards to finding your person, who this person is, that is your future spouse. Okay, so let's get started. First one out is, who is your future spouse at their core? Okay, the question of the title of the video. So we've got the Fool. Oh man, good one. Good one. Oh, I want to have a spouse like this too. Like, I love the Fool. I think it's not my favorite card because I don't want to cheat on the High Priestess, because I always, the High Priestess is like goals to be her. But like, I resonate so much with this energy here because it's like a person that is super open-minded, like super open to life, super adventurous, a little bit of a hippie, you know, a person that is like, oh man, I wish that I would have been born in the 70s so I could have gone to all the cool music festivals and been like a free spirit. You know, it's like super adventurous, spontaneous, curious, you know, just like really wants to discover everything, wants to get to know everyone. It's like bubbly, is a person that just has lots and lots of optimism and sense of humor, and just always wanting to have new experiences instead of just staying stuck in routines, you know. So it's a person that like normally they don't like routine so much. They want to always stay open to new things coming up, you know, and just venture off to do this, and then work a little bit here and discover a little bit about this and study several different topics, you know. So that's their approach, you know. They're not at all a heavy energy, like very, very light, and there's this freshness to them, you know. And I feel like they, even if they are older, they will always maintain this very young energy, very youthful, vibrant energy here. So they just are super playful and just like super willing to take risks compared to people that you have met before. I feel like this person just loves freedom. They just love exploring, you know. They really don't like to feel trapped. They don't like to feel controlled, you know. They don't want to be into any sort of rigid expectations like that don't align with who they are, you know. They likely want to work from home or have their own company. They want to be a person that travels, you know. It's just like, yeah, it's very much that, you know. It's a person that always wants to expand their world and keep doing that and keep discovering new things, you know, about themselves, but also about everything else around them. So yeah, they just want to experience life to its fullest capacity all the time. That's the energy, and that's what they love doing. And I feel like they're going to be opening up the same level of openness in you. So even if you see this and you're like, oh man, like this seems like a little bit of an unstable energy, like it's an immature energy. I'm more rigid, I'm more structured, and like I like my things to be a little bit more routine based. I feel like this person, they're gonna inject some fun into your life. They're gonna be like, yeah, but try this, like try this out, you know. Have you tried to have your coffee with condensed milk? Like try it out, it's great. And then you're gonna be like, oh man, this is the best coffee I've ever had. So it's gonna be a person that just brings new things, like new discoveries, you know, just new knowledge, new fun facts. They're always going to have a conversation to bring up, and it's always going to be fun to be around them. It's never going to get boring. It's never going to be like same old conversation that we have every single day. At 3 o'clock we talk about the weather, you know. It's 3:30 we talk about the news. Like it's going to be something that is always kind of a surprise. There's always the element of surprise with the Fool. So very refreshing energy, like very, very refreshing. So yeah, I feel like you're gonna love them. Like they're super fun. And what makes your future spouse stand out from other people that you've met is the next one. So Page of Pentacles. So see, there is more seriousness to them here, but it's still a page. So they are willing to build something here. They are willing to work. They are willing to invest their time into constructing stuff that is going to be stable for them in the future. You know, they do have dreams, they do have goals. It's not just like mañana, like let's flow with things, you know. Yeah, I don't care what's gonna happen, like I don't know how I'm gonna get my next paycheck, you know. It's just like they do have a little bit of structure here. So you don't have to get too freaked out about the whole free spirit aspect of the Fool. Now that we're getting a little bit more nuance here, you know, they, of course, they will have this very adventurous energy, but at the same time, they feel more grounded with this, and like they're generally interested in creating some growth for themselves and for you. And they want to have something that is meaningful over time so that they can feel safe. Like it's not always, you know, up in the air, just kind of like going with the flow, not knowing what next week is going to bring, you know, and then rent is overdue and it's like, oh, okay, so what are we going to do now? So it's going to be still someone that knows how to approach life also with a bit of responsibility here, and just like, but it's just going to be refreshing. It's going to not be someone boring, you know, just like not someone that is just like big talk but never follow through, you know, but they do grow, they do want to grow, you know, and I feel like they're humble. They are always willing to learn. Like the pages are always about that. It's always about taking in knowledge, you know, and evolving through that knowledge. So I feel like they will be humble. They will always admit when they're not an expert at something. They won't be arrogant as a person. I'm not sensing that at all here. They're gonna know like, okay, obviously I don't know what I'm doing here, so I will be absolutely willing to ask for help for this. You know, they do have that in them to be courageous and be vulnerable enough to just, you know, not pretend that they know what they're doing when they're not. So there's that, and I feel like that just is good for them because that just opens up more possibilities for them to keep learning from people that have more knowledge. So yeah, they still have that ambition here, you know, and I feel with this, they are going to be very step by step in how they build things. You know, they are going to be still financially responsible, but it's going to be more like a savings account sort of thing than just like maybe launching a business that's going to make them overnight rich, or like investing in crypto or something like that. They're going to be more, you know, okay, I believe in this thing here, so I'm going to try and do this thing, and then they're going to be investing in that and just be still professional about that. And they're not going to rush things too much when it comes to their finances here, and they're going to be quite intentional about that and wanting something that can actually last instead of just feeling very like intense, like heat of the moment sort of fun. You know, this is something that impulsively feels like a cool thing to do right now, and then like next week they'll drop it because it's going to get boring, you know, because that could be, if it was only the Fool, yeah, there was going to be a risk of that happening. But here I feel like they still have that maturity about them, so that is a good combination to see here, because it just, yeah, it makes them more grounded, you know, and they still want a stable life, you know, and they want to put in real effort here to create something that is going to be stable for them and also for you as their partner. Okay, so don't worry about this, it's going to balance itself out. And what is their current energy or life situation right now? Okay, so as you're watching this, as we speak, what's going on for them? They have, oh goodness gracious. So yeah, they don't like this at all. They're okay. Because I was saying that they don't like feeling trapped, right? I think I said this in the beginning. Like they don't want to have like aspects of control, like, you know, grabbing at them and feeling stuck. But that's where they are. Like, especially mentally, they're feeling like this right now. So they are somewhere in life right now that is rigid. I don't know if it's the wrong workplace for them, if it's a situation like a family thing that's going on for them where other people's expectations and ideas are kind of influencing them and trying to control them, and they're like, oh, back off, like I don't want to hear this, like, you know, I just want to kind of do my own thing. So they are feeling trapped here, and I feel like they have a lot of responsibilities right now, and it's creating a lot of just this pressure for them and this overthinking here, and within their circumstances, just like all making it more hard for them to move as freely as they actually want to do here with the Fool. So yeah, I feel that it is external, but it is becoming more mental because they're not sure how to get rid of this problem right now. I feel like they're kind of stuck there, and they're just like, they're also putting pressure on themselves, I feel, because they feel like they need to fix this, they need to resolve this, they need to escape this, get out of this, question this, you know, question their direction, where they're going to go if they leave the situation. And they're just feeling very uncertain about how to go about this, you know, and what's going to be on the other side of that door, you know, what kind of future is waiting for them if they decide to move away from this trappedness here. So yeah, so I feel like they're a little bit guarded right now. You know, it's maybe not exactly right now in this point in time the right time to meet this person, because they are going to be a little bit, you know, distracted by this here, and they're currently just prioritizing trying to protect themselves from this energy here and get out of the situation, because it feels like it's not the best for them at all. It's not at all what they want to be in here. So definitely they're restricted. They're very restricted here. And I sense that it is to do with work, unless they are already in a connection currently that is not going to work out and they're just feeling miserable in that connection. So there's something here that is just very unstable, a very wrong energy for them to be sitting in, not at all compatible with their regular vibe there. So yeah, but yeah, it's not going to be permanent. That's the thing. But to them, I feel right now, if especially you haven't met yet and they don't know who you are, it's going to feel pretty much that way. And that's why they're freaking out, because they're like, I don't want it to be permanent. I want to get out of this. Like, this sucks. Like, this truly, truly sucks. It's not at all me. it doesn't at all resonate with my personality. Like, what am I doing here? But then again, rent is overdue, you know, you have bills to pay. And so, yeah, it's kind of hard sometimes, especially if you have a lot of things to do, to, you know, apply for other jobs or even be creative about discovering what it is that you want to do with your future, what you're good at, you know, so you kind of get stuck, you kind of settle. So that's what they're doing, I feel. And that's why they're feeling super trapped. But at the same time, they're not going to be able to stay in that for long because they're just not having a good experience with that. You know, yeah, it's just the opposite of the type of experience that the Fool needs to be sitting into, be feeling good about themselves. Okay, so let's see. I want to do I want to do the dice. I don't know if I should do the dice now. I think I will do this one first and then I'll do the dice, okay? So how will your future spouse feel when they first meet you? Let's see. Oh my goodness gracious. Yeah, okay. Oh, okay, that's super interesting. Like, this is, like, this here is more aligned with this, okay? So, because the Emperor is super structured as an energy, which is weird to me, because that's a contradiction, and I don't like contradictions when it comes to tarot. So there is going to be a clue here. There is going to be an answer. I'm just trying to like, what is it? I feel like you are very strong in that sense. Like, you are going to be a contrast to them, because like there is something about you that is going to make them feel very intrigued by that, okay? Because this here is like, it's a respected energy, okay? The Emperor it's a very masculine energy. It's an energy of dominance. It's an energy of just like being very controlled, very guarded, you know? So yeah, that's why I'm like, this is super different. Like, you're just opposites attract, I guess, you know? That's the thing. I feel like, yeah, they're going to respect that about you. Likely you do have a lot of substance. You do speak your mind. You know very clearly who you are. You know what you want in life. You're a type of person that has a lot of authority. You know how to carry yourself. You know yourself. You have a very strong energy that just naturally commands attention from people without you having to obviously force that and be rude about that. So I feel like they are going to sense that, you know, that you don't really need them to protect you, but at the same time, they are going to feel a little bit protective around you, like not in this unhealthy, like controlling way, because I feel like that would not even work with you, being the Emperor energy. But at the same time, yeah, like it's just something that is unusual for them, you know, and it's just like they're not going to know exactly where to place you, and they're not going to want to place you in this casual category emotionally. So even if they are, I feel like they're going to try to play it cool at first, because they're going to be like, this person is super unbothered. I don't even know how to pick them up. I don't even know what to say. Like, you're going to make them a little bit nervous. They are going to recognize that you are the missing link to this, because right now, like, as they are in this, they're like a little bit all over the place, to be honest. And then you come in and you bring in the structure here, okay? So there is that counterbalance, which is why, you know, opposites attract, because that's you balancing each other out. Because that's the thing, I was like, maybe you're gonna get freaked out when I talk about the Fool, because if you are the person that is more structured here, you're gonna be like, I don't want a partner like this, you know? I want a partner that is exactly like me, that is like a go-getter, that is just like more rigid, more structured, more control, you know, more serious about things. And so it seems that you are this energy, you know, this is the confirmation of that with the Emperor, that you are that type of person. Maybe you're a Capricorn. So like, likely you're seeing this and you're like, hell no, I don't want this, if you haven't clicked off the video. However, yeah, it is a good balance, because like I said, they are going to be injecting more fun into your life and more like, let's explore, you know, like, we don't have to have a schedule. Come on, like, no, we don't have to book the hotel. Like, what do you mean? Let's just go. And then we sense the vibe of the hotel. And if we like it, we go and we book a room there, you know, we don't have to have everything figured out. And you're more the person that's like, yeah, let's book everything and let's have everything scheduled, like hour by hour, what we're going to do. So it's going to be a balance here for sure. That is going to just take you out a little bit of your seriousness here, make you have more fun, you know, and just, yeah. But I feel like they are going to get intimidated by that at first, because they're going to be like, wow, this person is so different from me. So I'm not really sure how to go about connecting with them in a way that is going to be, you know, lead into something more. So yeah, they're gonna get a little bit skittish, and I feel like you are gonna do the same. But now you know, at least if you're watching this, when this happens, you're gonna be like, okay, okay, I remember I saw that video. So this is that person that is all adventurous and fun, and I like now at least okay, there is a potential here. Instead of you just like throwing them in the the trash can as like, nah, this is never gonna be my partner. Like hell no. So yeah, that's very interesting. Very, very, very interesting. All right, so let's do your dice here because I've been really excited about this. I'm gonna do this one, and this could be either your person or you, okay? So let's see what comes out here. I would hope that it is about your person, and I'm gonna roll it 3 times just to see because I like to work with the sun sign first, and then the moon sign, and then the rising sign just to get a more full picture, like a full scope of things. So let's see the first one out. We have, this is a Libra, okay? So a Libra sun. And then for the, not the rising, for the moon, let's see what we have there. Okay, so Gemini moon, which does explain a little bit of that scatteredness and that fun vibe, you know, just being like adventurous. It would be more Sagittarius, but I feel like Geminis are really fun people. Like they're always exploring, they're always just being super social, like social butterflies. So, and then we have the rising. So all right, so Taurus, okay, Taurus rising, okay. And let me know as well in the comments if these 3 are one of yours as well, if you have them as either sun, moon, or rising. So Taurus is more about comfort, is about beauty. It's not so much about exploring, but it's more about just like living the good life, you know, just having high quality things, eating good food, you know, drinking good wine, just more like expensive material. So it feels like a more fancy person too. It feels like a person that likes a little bit of that luxury, a little bit of just, yeah, the good sheets, like the Egyptian cotton sheets, you know, and just like the good shoes, maybe like a little bit of brands here and there, you know, in their clothing. So I'm not saying that they're shallow, but they're just more in tune with quality. They will rather invest their money in something that is going to be durable and that is like a good brand that they really trust than something that is like from Temu, right? So yeah, that's the 3 here for you. So let's check out the next one here. So how are you most likely to meet or recognize each other? Temperance. Okay, so see, it's all about balance. All about balance. It's gonna feel very divinely timed, by the way. I feel your meeting here. It's gonna be something that like none of you is going to be able to plan this, is what I'm sensing here. It's not going to be like, okay, now it's time, like I'm going to go on Bumble, I'm going to go on Hinge, and I'm going to meet this person and I'm going to start looking for them, right? It's going to be more non-forceful. Like when the timing is right, you know, both of you have gone through certain lessons and certain personal growth first, then your paths are just going to align very, very naturally, okay? So I feel it's not going to be like pile 1 because pile 1 was more like upheaval and then meeting the person. So it's like going through a very big transition in your life. With you, I feel like it's going to happen during a more calm period of your life. So after you have been through something and then it has settled down, you have started healing from that, you know, you feel like it's not the main focus in your mind right now, the process itself at that point, but like things are just finally starting to settle. You're starting to relax, live your life normally as usual, like business as usual. Then this connection is going to work out beautifully because then that's when you guys can start balancing each other out here. And that's going to be something that feels very peaceful. So you're not going to be like, you know, just walls up and stuff when you meet someone that is so vastly different than you here. So yeah, I feel like it's going to be just peaceful. It's not explosive, you know, it's just something that is going to feel easy. It's going to feel like almost a little bit familiar when you see this person. They're going to be like, okay, I wonder what it would be like to get to know this person better. Like they seem really cool. They seem really fun. They seem like a person that, yeah, I have known some people like this in the past, but at the same time, I haven't really gotten to know them very well. So now is my time to actually discover what this person is all about. So there's going to be that little peak of interest, that little curiosity that you experience here where they're going to feel the same about you for sure, as we've seen here with the Emperor. So it's just going to feel very natural, very, very natural. It's going to feel like an easy flow of conversation. You know, it's not going to be something weird. It's not going to be something awkward. It's not going to be something that you have to overthink the discussions that you're going to have, what you're going to talk about, and feel like any sort of fear about not having anything in common. But it's going to be like just flow. just flow, just very relaxed. And that's when you're going to realize that, Jesus, like I really get along with this person. Like I really want to hang out with them more. You might be talking on the phone for hours, just like the first few weeks. You exchange numbers, and then it's the whole like, I don't want to hang up. No, you hang up first. And you're just like talking about life and sharing about your career, sharing about your adventure, sharing about everything you've done, your childhood, your siblings if you have any, your family history, future plans, what you want to do, where you want to travel, where you've been before, your favorite countries, your favorite food. I feel like it's going to be just like you guys just really, really, really wanting to get to know each other and just like digging really deep, really fast, and just turning over every little rock to see like what more information can I get about this person. Like they're super intriguing. Like you're both going to feel that way about each other, and just that's why it's going to feel really fast, and like you get to know them really quickly. So there's going to be that like immediate alignment here, and just like this really comfortable thing here. And I feel like for some of you, since this is I'm sensing a very strong traveling thing, this could happen abroad. This could happen when you are on vacation, when you are traveling, it could also be through mutual friends, okay? Like if you have any sort of friendships that do play both roles, play both sides here. Maybe they are, them from work, maybe they know this person from like through travels, and you're gonna like interlink through those people here. So I feel like, it's just gonna be very harmonious, it's just gonna be something that is going to develop quite quickly, but it's going to become stable over time. But at first, like the initial phase is going to be very chatty, is what I'm sensing here, especially with the Gemini moon here. It's going to be very, very talkative, and just like always something interesting to talk about. It's never going to get boring. It doesn't feel like I'm not sensing any like pauses, any awkward silence. They're just going to be like little chatterboxes, just like talking all over the place. So super fun. And then what kind of relationship dynamic will exist between you? The Ace of Pentacles, okay? Like, this is good. This is good, guys. So see, this is you not having to worry about just like them coming into your life and then everything just being like unstable, right? Everything becoming like Woodstock. Like now we're going to live as hippies. We're going to be walking barefoot all over the place, right? We're going to just hitchhike. We're not going to even buy plane tickets. It's just going to be something that has potential. They are very grounded, they are very stable, okay? So they can actually focus. They are, I know it is a little bit, they might have a little bit of ADHD, but at the same time, they do have that capacity to really, really focus and really hone in on stuff, right? And just be very intensely determined to make things work once they find that this is something that I want for myself, right? So they know how to create that security, and you definitely know that as well. So you guys are just going to help each other out, and you're going to be building on that. So I feel like you don't have to worry. Like financially, you're going to be good. Physically, I think you're going to be really good. I feel like there's a very strong sexual chemistry. There's a very, very like adventures as well, like very exploration-based attraction here when it comes to your physical bodies, Emotionally, you're going to get along really great. Again, you're going to have really deep conversations, really fun conversations too. It's not just going to be deep, but it's going to just go like all over the place as well, and just like super discovery mode with one another. And you're just going to really want to create something here solid, together that can last. That is something that is going to feel very different from any past connections that you've had, about just maybe being with people that are more similar to you. And this is going to be a person that just really breaks open your mind and just makes you think differently and makes you just feel this passion about life and just about discovering things, So very, very interesting connection, and just like super practical as well. There is a lot of pentacles here too. So you're going to support each other, and you're going to support each other's goals. You're going to have routines together. It's going to work out. You're going to develop that. You're going to have good finances together. So there is going to be an overall stability here. So don't worry about that. It feels very intentional. It feels like it's not going to be this super rushed thing. You're going to get to know each other very quickly, but the relationship might take a little bit more time to actually like label itself, like transform into an official thing. So both of you are going to just have to understand each other better, and then you're going to make that decision together. So at first, I feel like it's just you taking time, just taking some time with one another and just like consistently talking. And that's when you guys are going to just realize that you have more in common than you think, and that you do want to grow together, that you do want to go in the same direction in things, you know. So that's when it's going to start feeling more secure for both of you, and you're going to be feeling grounded in one another. You're going to be feeling oriented towards the same sorts of goals, you know, and that's what's going to create that capability of it working long term for you both. So, but yeah, I feel like it's going to still take a little bit of time for you to just really accept that, like, this is the person for me, and this is the person that I want to build my life with. So initially it's going to be a lot of just discovery and a lot of like a friendship that is going to develop into a deeper friendship, and then it's going to develop into flirtiness, and then it's going to develop into romance. So I feel like it's going to be very gradual in that process. And what lesson or transformation will this connection bring into your life? Okay, so the Three of Pentacles. There's so many pentacles. Wow. Yeah, like, and this could be like literally like work things, right? Just seeing this is like, okay, so like they're not your colleague. I don't feel like they're your colleague, but there's just so many like work vibes going on here. But I feel like this is more about just teamwork and like healthy partnership and what that actually is, you know, what that actually looks like, and knowing that love is not supposed to feel like there is one person having to do all the work and carry everything emotionally alone, you know, but this feels very much like a collaboration energy between both of you, and you're gonna have them help you just realize that a healthy connection does involve a lot of communication, you know, a lot of having to compromise about things and just support each other, you know, and just want to build things together and just want to work towards goals together instead of just like constantly fighting each other or struggling against each other and butting heads and like trying to change each other's minds about things. This is like, there's going to be a lot of like, let's agree to disagree, since you guys are so different, but at the same time, I feel like you are going to be supportive in that, and there is going to be some compromises that are going to happen that are going to feel more healthy. So this, I feel, is going to be very healing for you, especially if you have been experiencing relationships in the past that have felt more emotionally one-sided, you know, where you were more unsupported by your partner here and they weren't rooting for you, you know, and they were a little bit unstable or very selfish, you know. So I feel like this person is really going to see you. They're going to encourage you. They're going to see your talents. They're going to talk about those talents. They're going to want to help you out with your goals. They're going to definitely encourage your creativity and make that really spark and really come to life. So all of that, like, they're going to be building up your confidence and just really helping you evolve as a person here, you know, and they're going to really value your opinions as well. Even if your opinions aren't exactly theirs, they're still going to see that as part of who you are, as a person that they love, you know, and that opinion itself can be a contribution to something that they can learn something from, you know. So they're not going to try to diminish that and like overpower you and convert your opinions and just like make you think exactly like them. So I feel like it's going to be very transformative in that sense of just you guys learning from each other and just expanding from each other, learning how to compromise about things. So it's just like about learning how to view commitment as something different than what you have experienced before, where this is all about just being supportive and just having a more constructive type of dynamic here, okay? Instead of just something that makes you feel drained all the time, or that you're having to adapt, or, you know, you're having to be with a person that is exactly like you, and just this, yeah, it's going to be very, very, very transformative, but you're going to both accept each other perfectly, you know? And I'm sensing very strongly here that some of you are going to have had connections for sure that, well, you had to do everything alone, you know, especially with the Emperor. You had to be the independent one. You had to be the strong one. So this is someone unloading some of that burden from you and just helping you out a lot, especially with the emotional stuff here, and just feeling lighter in general about life. And so the last one is, what will your future spouse eventually confess or openly admit to you? Another, like, it's so many pentacles at this point. Goodness gracious. Let me know your sign in the comments. That would be super interesting to see if you are an earth sign. So yeah, I feel like in the beginning, they are going to be guarded around you, you know, and they might make jokes and they might try to be like a lighter energy because that's their usual baseline, just to protect themselves and just to maintain some sort of control over their emotions here. Because they're scared of getting too vulnerable with you too quickly, you know. But I feel like it's just, they will have a little bit of walls up for some reason at first when they meet you here. Likely because they are intimidated by your energy here. So, but it's not going to take long. They're not going to be able to keep that up because it's just not their nature to do so. So over time, it's going to start coming down. And that's what they're going to tell you, that they were afraid of just getting hurt. They were afraid of just like, your energy in general, of you being like this very strong presence here. So yeah, they just didn't know exactly how to act around your energy at first initially, and how you would see them as a person if you would take them as someone that is unserious as a person here. So yeah, there's gonna be that as a confession here for sure. And they're gonna be like, man, like I really didn't know what to say to you. I really didn't know how to act around you. So I was trying to be funny and make jokes, but then maybe you weren't laughing at those jokes, and like I felt really awkward, you know. And so it's gonna be something like that that just makes them like really come clean about that vulnerability that they were trying to hide initially, you know. And I feel like also, I feel like they are going to be holding on to you emotionally before they openly express that. So, speaking of the thing about you guys being friends first, they are going to develop feelings for you, and then it's going to take a while for them to confess to that and admit to that, because they're going to be scared about, you know, ruining the friendship. And what if I say something and you're not interested in them? So, yeah, it's going to be a lot of just keeping that internally for them, you know, and they're going to try to look really calm, really composed externally, but internally, like, you do matter a lot to them, and they're really scared of losing you here. So it's just they're trying to play a little bit like cool, you know, and just yeah, but like deep down, like they are sensing the connection and they want to do more with you, but at the same time, it's just like they're not really sure how to go about that. So they don't know how to be that level of vulnerable with you first. So I feel like it's cute, like it's very human. This is something that happens a lot, you know. So yeah, but then at some point, when they are feeling more comfortable and they know that you're there, you're stable, you're a part of their life, you're not going to just leave them because you're confessing something, that's when they're going to come clean about this. So yeah, it's going to be just like, I was trying to protect myself, you know, but I realized that I didn't have to do that. I really didn't have to try to close down my energy with you, you know, so sorry for doing that. So yeah. And let's look at your oracle messages, or your little, it's not oracle, it's like appearance card. So let's see what we have for this person here. Okay, so powerful. All right, all right. So I feel like they have that aura as well. That is very interesting there. It's hard to describe this as a physical appearance, you know. Then we have medium hair. All right, and then we have lastly tooth gap. All right, so here are three little indicators. I mean, I'm struggling a little bit with powerful because just like I'm not sure how to interpret that as like a clothing or like an appearance style, you know. It's just I feel like they do have more of an aura of someone that has like a good posture, you know. They have a nice walking style, they just move themselves more confidently, like they have a more strong body language, you know. Or maybe they have a thing with their eyes. I'm sensing that too, like they don't break eye contact, they have a very intense eye contact, you know, and this presence that is more powerful in that sense rather than like in their clothing itself, because I'm having a hard time seeing the clothing. So I feel like this is going to be more about their energy in general. And then medium hair, I feel like, yeah, it's going to be like this, like shoulder length. It's going to be something that is a little bit more voluminous, you know, between short and long, you know. And they're going to wear likely their hair loose, like not tied up, you know, so it's going to be falling down a little bit longer than average. And I feel like that's one of the things you're going to notice first about them. And then tooth gap is very specific, so it's not a lot of people that have a tooth gap, so be on the lookout for that. So it's going to be something that you see. I feel like they might have a beautiful smile, and then you might see that and you're going to be like, oh, okay, I remember that reading that I watched in 2026 about this person that had this full energy that is a little bit awkward around me right now with medium long hair and a tooth gap. So, so maybe save this video for later if you want to come back and confirm. But yeah, that's your combination here. So let's check out your little, what do you call it? Scrabble, right? Your little Scrabble letters. I'm just going to take a bunch of them here and let's just lay them out to see if we can get a name. First of all, we have E, and I had so many E's in the pile 1 as well. So let's see. And I have these. And then if you see a name here, let me know in the comments as well. Like, I wonder, imagine if your name would also show up here. But let's see, what do we have here? Another I, another F. I'm actually gonna put just one more up here, and then I think I took too many. I'm gonna put them here in the second row and just see if they will all fit. But already I feel like this is a more easy Scrabble than the one that I did for pile 1, because we had a lot of consonants, and we had a lot of repeating ones there. So no, but still we have so many E's though. Had the same thing with them as well. Maybe E's are the most dominating letter in Scrabble. Let me know if you are more of a Scrabble expert. Okay, are they all gonna fit? I think not. Are they? Yeah, okay, I can just do this instead. I'll just put one here and another one here, and then I'll put two more in the end here. Okay, so do you see any names here? Let's see, let's focus. Okay, first one I see is G-U-Y, so Guy, because I had an ex that had that last name, so Guy. Then we have also Leo. We have also E-L, let's say E-L-L-A, Ella. And then also, U-N-A, Una, is that a name? I think so. Una. Also, E-L, do I have a second L? Oh yeah, E-L-L-I-O-T, Elliot. R-I-L-E-Y, Riley. Also, let's see, yeah, I saw the E-D-E-N. E-D-E, oh, there's another E too. E-D-E-N, Eden. As well as, let's see. Wait, I saw an F somewhere, didn't I? Is there an F here? Yeah, there. Okay, so A-L-F, and then we have R-E-D, Alfred. Works too. Tio as well is another one. And then we have Noel. Also Dean. Ariel, right? There is an L. Yeah, Ariel. Yeah, exactly. So, like the Little Mermaid. Also like RuPaul. Could be RuPaul too. But yeah, let me know, guys. Let me know if you're seeing more names here. I think I got Eugene. I'm not sure. I'm supposed to Eugene. Let's see. E-U. Is there G-E-N-E? Yeah, Eugene. And Otto as well. Yeah, because there's two O's and two T's. So Otto. Also, there is an E there. So D-I-E-G-O, Diego. Also Lily, we have that too. And Greta as well, say G-R-E-T-A. So yeah, those are the ones. I'm gonna leave it at that so that it's not super long, because I feel like I can sit here for a while doing this. So let me know if you want to pause it and just write the name below, what you think your person might be called. Of course, it could be initials as well. And other than that, thank you so much for watching this reading, guys. So if it resonated with you, feel free to leave a like below and subscribe to the channel if you feel comfortable doing so. And I'd really love to hear from you in the comments, especially if this future spouse energy here already reminds you of someone that you might have in your life, you might have seen already, if certain details in this reading felt very specific to you. And also, if you feel drawn towards another pile, you can check the timestamps in the description or in the comments and explore that one as well. And thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye! Hello, pile number 3, and welcome to your reading. So if you chose the image with the little branch and the good vibes, or perhaps if you chose the tiny little red heartbeat, hopefully this reading will be resonating with you today. I normally don't do these readings like back to back, but I had to do that today because, yeah, normally I do like 1 or 2, and I take a little break in between. But man, I've been on a roll. I've had so much fun doing the pile 1 and pile 2. Goodness gracious, I have to start incorporating the Scrabble more, because this is the second reading that I've ever done for my channel that I have had these little letters here. So like, they're so much fun because we can see the names of the people, you can see the names, you can see initials and all of that, just to get a more clearer reading, as well as we have the little appearance cards here that we're going to be looking into at the end as well. And these white ones here are the tarot, okay? And we also have a little dice here that I'm going to be looking into more about their signs, their rising, their moon, their sun sign. So let's start off with your questions about their personality and your dynamic, how you guys are going to meet, etc. With the first question being, who is your future spouse at their core? Okay, so here we've got, okay, all right, so 9 of Pentacles. Okay, beautiful energy, okay? Very, very self-sufficient, very mature. They might be an older person, or they might have a very like an older, sort of more responsible energy here, where they're very comfortable within themselves. They know who they are. They are someone that, like, I feel like they value independence quite a bit. You know, they might have their own business. They might have spent a long time building up their finances, building up their stability, their life, their routines, their finances, their confidence, you know, just like this person that has it all figured out is what I'm sensing here. Like they know who they are. Like they have a very strong identity, you know, and it's just something that before they even enter a relationship with you, they will have already established that, like they're done. You know, it's just like the full package energy. And I feel like they are not going to be needy as a person. They're going to be very like standing on their own 2 feet, you know, like taking good care of themselves, taking good care of their appearance, their body, like working out and just, yeah, being like happy with their surroundings. Likely they will have a nice home. They might even have a house. You know, they're this person that, you know, they feel very complete and they feel very healthy. So it's something like really refined about their energy. Like they're very put together. They have a really good taste. You know, they have very strong personal standards and just this very intentional way of living. And I feel like they might be a good cook as well. They're good with food. So they appreciate that. They appreciate quality and comfort, you know, just like likely they're going to want to go on museums and like go see art or collect art and just like be more in nature and like have a little knack for wellness and just wanting to relax on the weekends, like maybe go to the spa, just get little treatments here and there. And just like, I feel like a lot of beauty, like upkeeping themselves, like making themselves look good, you know, like having like expensive skincare, you know. It's just a person that, yeah, they like taking care of themselves and they like taking care of their surroundings and they want to have everything like figured out, you know, just pristine in that sense and just clean, you know, not too crowded with things, like not too hoardy with things, you know. So just, yeah, like their environments are calm, okay? They're this person that isn't overly reactive and just like seeking validation and chaotic as a person and just like volatile as a person. Like they seem to be very grounded within themselves. And I feel like with that being said, with all of the structure that they have built over time, they are going to be quite selective about who they let in, you know, who they at least let close to themselves, because they're going to want this person to match that quite a bit here, you know. So yeah, they're very self-aware and they're going to be very aware of the people that they have around you as well. They want people to have at least, like, if you don't have exactly the same finances and stability, like at least the same level of maturity to understand why a person would want to have that, and that they want a person that is very connected to their own worth and knows what they deserve, right? So I feel like they are going to inspire you to value yourself a lot as well, okay? So that's the first one. And then the second one is, what makes your future spouse stand out from other people that you've met? Okay, justice. Yeah, like they are very much in their integrity. They do speak their mind. They are very honest. I feel sometimes maybe might even come across as like brutally honest, where they might be a little bit unfiltered with how they say things, you know, and just, but at the same time, they are aware of that as well. Again, they are very self-aware. So if something comes across as like, maybe a little bit harsh, they are going to still be mature about that, and they are going to be accountable. They are going to apologize or explain their perspective and just create some balance out of that situation, you know, and just how they handle people's feelings around that and just how they handle relationships. That is going to feel very different from what you have experienced before, especially if you have been connected to people that are more keen on not taking accountability for their mistakes and apologizing for things. I feel like this person does not at all do that. They don't feel like they're ego, like manipulative, or just like any sort of like inconsistent energy. They feel like more someone that has a lot of just respect for other people and just kindness for other people. But it's just that they do speak their mind, you know. They have a lot of honesty, and that is going to feel surprisingly refreshing to you, especially again if you have been with people that are more shady and manipulative before. This person really, like, they will say what they mean, you know, and they will also mean what they say, you know. So they're not going to want to play any sort of unnecessary games just to maintain power over you or to maintain control over any specific situation, you know, especially in relationships with people that they love, you know. So I feel like that's them being really thoughtful about people, right? And just caring a lot about maintaining healthy connections through speaking honestly and expecting others to speak as honestly with them. So, of course, if they would say something that was a little bit too brutally honest, they would always, always, always want people to call them out for that and just say that, that was kind of hurtful, what you just did there, what you just said, I wasn't ready to hear that. And then, of course, with that being called out, that's when they can actually be accountable for that and just realize that, okay, I did make a mistake, and then correct that mistake. So they will always appreciate that same level of honesty back to them. And I feel like they're not going to be as sensitive. They're not going to get hurt by that, but they do understand when people are. So they're not going to judge people for that, So I feel like, yeah, like they're very strong within themselves is what I'm sensing here. And they're this person that, they're not emotionally impulsive, and they always take time to think things through before committing to things. They're very careful about things, and just especially when it comes to something that is a little bit bigger, like making big life choices. This is the person that is going to feel very responsible about that and just really understand that a lot can actually just be resolved through like sheer communication, just sitting down, talking it through, just listening actively to one another, just taking in information that is being received from someone else and just taking that in and learning from that. And so they're not at all about like creating fights and like being intense as a person or dominating as a person, reactive, like they're this very, very calm presence, like very genuinely trustworthy as a person, so good for you, like good for you. And then what is their current energy or life situation right now as we speak? Okay, so we have a reversal here. And like I always say this, if you just came across my channel, normally I don't work with reversals when I do my like pre-shuffles. I will have all my cards upright in my deck, but then sometimes one falls out and then flips over in reverse, and I always keep it like that because I see that there is a deeper purpose as to why the universe wanted to see the card in that position. So with that there, I feel like they are in a phase of like reevaluation in their life, right? They're hesitating about something here. There's like some area of their life that they're not sure about if they want to keep that, if they want to stay in that, and it's creating a little bit of friction for them. And they just haven't really decided what to do with that yet, but it's still nagging at them. It's still something that they're at least sure that they don't want to continue with that. Like there's something that is off about this, and they're really thinking long and hard about their future, what they want for themselves, like how they want to feel about their lives. And this current thing that is their present moment is challenging for them to be sitting with right now. It's not something that they would want to continue doing. So for them, they're trying to strategize around this and just how to work with this, okay? Like first of all, if it is something that can be resolved, like simply through honesty and communication, and if not, how they are going to eject themselves from that without being too impulsive about this, because that's not their vibe at all. So they're still wanting to find a solution to this, but it is kind of nagging at them right now in this moment that they're not aligned with this thing, but they're just not sure what to do about this currently. So they are a little bit holding back and just very carefully considering their next steps, like what to do about this here, and just knowing for sure that this is something that they have been outgrowing for a while. It's not working out anymore, and they just haven't really come into the next chapter yet. So this could even be a connection that they're currently in if they're not single right now in this moment. You haven't met them yet, that they're just feeling that there is a bit of friction there, and there is a little bit of just things that are stacking up, just one thing here, one thing there. It's still kind of minor, but like when you stack it up, it just becomes something bigger. But the things are just still so minor enough so that it's not, something that you can pinpoint as specifically problematic. But as the more it stacks, of course, the more they're gonna have to get out. So I feel like it's something there, and like they're very in between worlds, and they're very uncertain. It could be about their career as well, or just like questioning that, and like if that's what they want to do for the rest of their lives, and just being really unsure about what comes next, if they would leave that behind, and like feeling very stagnant in that specific energy right now, and just having to take a little break for themselves just to think it through, and just to see if they can find a strategy for their future if they leave this thing behind here. So they're very reflective and just trying to still stay cautious about not being too drastic about exiting the situation and then having to regret it later. So, but deep down, like, they know that they can't stay in that, but it's just that they so far are still kind of stuck in knowing what's going to come next. So there's a bit of fear here. And for the next one, we have, how will your future spouse feel when they first meet you? Yeah, super healing. Wow. Yeah. Okay, so this is them feeling very hopeful, which makes me feel that this could definitely be that they are in a connection right now and they're not feeling happy with that. It's just something that likely it's a longer connection. They've been with this person for a while. They might even have kids together, and it's just like they have a family system. They have their house together, you know, their paperwork is connected, you know, it's alimony, it's all of that. And now they feel like maybe it's better to stay in that comfort zone because it would be messy and complicated to leave that, and especially not knowing if there is something else that is better waiting on the other side of that. And now with the star here, when they meet you, they're going to realize that there is definitely an improvement that could happen. And your energy feels very calming with the star here. You have this very healing presence about you that is going to feel refreshing to them in a way that I feel is very different from the current situation that they are experiencing here, where there is mainly just disappointment after disappointment, and they're feeling exhausted, and they're feeling like, man, like every single day is the same uphill battle. I don't know how to get out of this. Like, this is making me feel emotionally overwhelmed and drained, you know, and they're losing faith, you know, and they're likely in this connection here that to some degree just like it doesn't have love anymore at this point, you know. And I feel like meeting you is going to reopen something, especially emotionally inside of them, where they're going to realize that there is a potential for them to feel that with you. And so it's going to be a natural ease that they experience through you immediately, where I feel like the attraction, first of all, is going to be very strong. They're going to feel like, wow, this is a person that I really am physically attracted to. I really appreciate the way that you look. You know, it is aligned with their elegance and everything that they like about other people and how they appreciate beauty. And I feel like you're going to present yourself in that way as well when you meet. So yeah, it's going to be like very, very peaceful. It's going to feel like you're very safe to be around, you know, and you're just going to, yeah, it's just going to click for them, you know. And I feel like they might fall in love with you very quickly and very quickly realize that, wow, this is the optimal match for me. Like, this is a person that I would definitely want to get to know better, that I definitely want to connect with at a deeper level and talk to more. So yeah, hopefully they will have already exited the situation, but I am having a feeling that they're going to still be in that case in this transition here. So you're going to be like the escape plan. You're going to be the goal for them. And so initially they might not exactly approach you with a romance per se, but it's still going to be definitely an interest there. It's still going to be like a very subliminal flirtation that you're going to notice, that you're going to pick up on. But I feel like initially it's going to be meetings that are concerning more healing aspects, or just getting to know each other on a more deeper spiritual level. And this person might even be spiritual, and they might be with someone here that isn't. So when they meet you, they're going to connect on that level as well and just feel something that they have been lacking at home here. So yeah, it's going to feel very inspiring, and it's going to feel like they can resonate with you and talk about certain topics with you that they couldn't talk to with other people here. So they're going to feel very spiritually connected, you know, and just feeling like they can be themselves, you know, and just talk about stuff, you know, talk about intuition, talk about tarot, you know, talk about metaphysics, talk about astrology, you know. So it's going to feel strangely familiar to them and very comforting to like meet someone that does resonate on that deeper, more higher frequency level as well, you know. And just, yeah, I feel like they're going to get very quickly drawn in and very affected by your presence in a way that, like, when the interaction ends and they leave, they're not going to be able to stop thinking about you, and they're going to want to meet you again and again and again and again. And that's how they're going to start exiting this situation here that they're currently in order to be with you. And so how are you most likely to meet or recognize each other? Okay, so 8 of Pentacles. Yeah, like, interesting, because this could be through work, actually. You know, this could be that you have this person as a colleague, you know, you have met them through school, you know, it's something there with just, yeah, these types of spaces, you know, like taking a course together maybe. Or just like if you go to like these wellness spaces together, you have these like spiritual stuff in common, you might meet at more like a spiritual retreat, a meditation retreat, you know, which is would already open up those topics naturally. You would already know that you could talk about these things without having to like tiptoe around it and kind of like, oh, so do you believe in zodiac signs? You know, it would just be a natural flow from that. So I feel like it could definitely be one of those environments here where, yeah, it's a place where people are just focused on building something. And with building something, it doesn't necessarily have to be like a house, right? It doesn't have to be like a rocket. It can just literally be yourself, like your own evolution, your own spiritual growth. So definitely I feel like it could be something like that, that is going to feel like, yeah, a gradual thing. Again, it's like it confirms this, it's a gradual build up. It's not going to be a thing that is like a random, like one-time encounter that just is super passionate and you guys are going to run off to Vegas and get married in one of those chapels by Elvis. But it's going to be more like, you know, over time, you know, time and time again, very, very slow, very gradual, like very consistent, just repeated exposure to one another, just getting to know each other slowly, you know, talking like once a week maybe, and just like sharing some news. This is what happened in my life. Like initially it does feel platonic, even though there is going to be a vibe there and you're both going to be able to sense that. So you're both going to recognize that like through how you talk, you know, and how also you handle responsibilities with this, and like how dedicated you are to this work, and like you make each other creative. I feel like you're gonna both use each other as a muse. You're gonna feel more creative by being in each other's presence. You're gonna unlock some of that, and you're gonna talk about that as well. And I feel like most importantly, even though this is a more spiritual reading, like you do have a more spiritual connection with the pentacles here, I feel like it is going to be a more grounded meeting at first, you know, where it's not going to be like fantasy like, it's not going to be like an astral projection, you guys meet through a dream or anything like that, but it's just more like two people like naturally crossing paths, right? And they're just building their own lives separately, and then realizing over time that the connection is becoming something together, like you're having this in common and suddenly you're building this together, you know. So it feels first initially like very familiar, but then you both are going to just become very consistent with one another and just very, very steady, like building this over time. Okay, so I feel like it's not going to be like a cheating thing if they already have a person in their life, you know, it's not going to be that, but it's just going to be you guys meeting each other first platonically, and then over time, like it's going to evolve to just more and more knowledge of one another, and then having more and more in common, and then realizing that, you know, you have a lot of compatibility with them, you know. So I feel like it's that. And what kind of relationship dynamic will exist between you? Oh, wow. The Empress. Yeah, like very nurturing, very, very, very nurturing, very abundant as a connection. You know, I feel like this person might have a lot of money, just saying. It might be a connection where they are going to want to take care of you. They're going to want to spoil you with gifts, you know, with more lavish experiences, travels, like restaurant visits, just like clothing that you like, you know, just like having more just of the luxury aspects of life. You know, it's just going to be a lot of sense of comfort here, you know, where you both can grow together and just like be very safe and just have these really nice experiences with one another, you know. So I feel like this is just genuine care. Like it's not going to be like an ego thing, like a gold digger connection, like a sugar daddy thing, you know, but it's going to be more, of course, that's going to be a natural result of that, of this person like worshiping you and wanting to give you everything that is good and everything that is going to make you feel comfortable within yourself. But the main, like the base of it is that there is just like that connection that is very loving, right? And they do appreciate you, and they want to give you things that are going to make you grow and are going to help you and open doors for you and just like, you know, make you feel safe and just develop that intimacy with you through having shared experiences together that you both enjoy doing, right? So it's going to be something more like intimate and more supportive, right? Where you discuss this thing with them, like, I want to do this, I want to have this experience, I've always thought about this, you know, I've always wanted to visit this restaurant, whatever. And then they're going to be like, let's go, you know, let's do it. So it's not going to be like, yeah, here's my wallet, here's my credit card, you know, but it's just that it's something that is very just based on well-being and like making you happy, you know, and just making you feel like you're growing with them, like making you feel again more creative with them. And I feel it's a very sensual connection. I feel like you guys are going to be exploring a lot sexually here. You're going to have a lot of just sexual chemistry, a lot of things in common there. You might visit some shops together and buy some toys together and just have that vibe there where you're just very curious about each other's bodies and making each other feel pleasure and just like being very affectionate with one another, just like very touchy, you know, and expressive, like compliments, just validation to one another, touching each other, like wanting to be close, and just like it's so sensual. It's a very, very sensual connection. And also like I feel like it's generous and it's sensual. Like those are the main two vibes I'm getting from this here, where it's just people pouring into one another, right? Just like doing so openly, you know, not withholding anything, just really wanting each other to thrive and to just like have a very beautiful, pleasant experience, you know. So super nurturing, super nurturing, feels super healthy as well, you know. Feels like you can build a very solid home together, having really nice things together, you know. So just, and also emotionally, it's not just about like materialistically rich, but just emotionally rich, like having really good conversations and just like, yeah, long-term chemistry as well. And what lessons or transformation will this connection bring into your life? All right. Man, such a good spread, guys. Yeah, like this is you being happy. Like this is your dreams coming true. Like everything you've been trying to manifest, everything that you've been dreaming about, literally, like I really, really want this for myself, but I don't know how to go about to create this change, this positive change, and just feeling this fulfillment. Like this is you sitting in that energy and just looking around you and being like, I'm here. Like I'm literally here. Like this is all that I've ever wanted, and now I can literally touch it. It's like just next to me, you know? So I feel like you might have an issue with receiving, okay? So this could be a thing where you haven't allowed yourself, or you haven't been around people that have openly given things to you or openly wanted you to experience pleasure, for example. And this is them just giving you that and you being okay with receiving that, and just, you know, not having to expect that there's going to be a string attached, you know, or there's going to be something that is going to be like a lack thing that comes after that, or something that is going to be almost like, you know, sort of, yeah, but now you owe me because I did this to you, so you have to do this for me, you know. I feel like it's about your self-worth. It's that. And I feel like you have had a little bit of lack before, and now this person is not going to provide you with that. It's going to be quite the opposite. They're going to provide you with everything that you wanted, right? And so, you know, you're not going to have to feel uncertain about this, and it's just like life is going to feel like really meaningful to you, and you're just going to feel like you deserve this, you know, and you deserve care, and you deserve affection, right? And you want to be happy, and you want a partner that is consistent to you, you know, and you don't want to always have to be the one that is the giver. You can also be okay with receiving, right? So I feel like you're going to reconnect with that and just be open with like this Empress energy to be the receptor, you know, and just start enjoying your life a little bit better without having to have this struggle back all the time on you, right? So it's going to be just, yeah, being in the present moment, just like without all those burdens, right? And just knowing that the things that you've been wanting are actually possible, that they can actually happen, right? And just be able to be at peace, you know, be at peace, and just not having to brace yourself for being disappointed just because you have a little bit of peace, expecting that there's going to be something painful that comes around the corner. And like you can actually sit with that peace without having that negative expectation. So it's going to be all about that. And what will your future spouse eventually confess or openly admit to you? Okay, so 4 of Cups. Yeah, I feel like they had already, like this is what we've been talking about. This is them being really emotionally withdrawn, okay? So I feel like this is just them basically sharing about their previous connection. I mean, I'm assuming that it is a connection that they're already involved with someone right now. But again, in some cases, this could be about work or some situation in their life in general that is keeping them stuck. But they're going to share about that. And they're going to just tell you that they were really withdrawn. They felt like they didn't believe in love at this point. They were feeling lost. You know, they were going through a period where they were super disconnected. They weren't feeling inspired. They were disappointed in life. They were negative, just really, really tired of relationships that were lacking that level of depth, you know, the spirituality aspect here. And they weren't feeling aligned at all with their past. And now I feel like they met you, you know, and just part of them first of all, didn't realize how important this connection would become, because again, it's going to take a little bit of time, right? It's going to take a lot of consistent effort for it to work. But then at the same time, you know, it's going to be something that they're extremely grateful for when it finally does work and it finally does click into place and become something official here. So yeah, like they're not going to have to struggle with this anymore, you know, and they can actually be vulnerable around you and feel like you can reflect back to them. You know, you're not going to judge them. You're not going to make fun of them for expressing their feelings openly to you, you know, just, yeah. And if they're feeling bad, you know, one day it's going to be fine. They can express their disappointment with you. They don't have to be positive all the time, you know, it's just, they can be themselves, you know. I feel like your connection is going to change this aspect of them, and you're just going to start making them believe in that again, just that there is a chance for me to be with someone that is my true partner, right? That is my soulmate. So yeah, you're going to make their lives very meaningful, you know, and just, you're just there, just being very present, you know, and just allowing them to be emotional, allowing them to be spiritual, you know. So yeah, they're just really thankful for that. That's what they want to say. They're really, really grateful for that. And I feel like one thing that they're going to say is that I wish that we could have done this sooner. I feel like we waited for a long time before it happened, but at the same time, they were still quite a bit closed off here. And that's why I feel like you came into their life and you started unlocking them. They're going to say that. And then after a while, they realized that they were ready, you know, but at the same time, they were still in their healing journey. So it wouldn't be the optimal for them to just exit one connection and jump into the next one. They still had to do a little bit of work on themselves first, but you still help them with that. So now let's take a look at your Who Is It Oracle cards. So these are appearance based, okay? So what about this person, like their style? And then sometimes it's going to be their hair color, eye color, all of that. And then, oh, we didn't do the dice, so I'm going to do that at the end too, okay? So first one out, we have white clothing, okay? And that is just general. It could be that this person really likes to wear lighter clothes often, you know, they like the whites, they like the creams, they like the more neutral tones, you know, they feel calm from that, they feel like it's clean, it's just aesthetically pleasing for them, you know, they like things to be like bright. So I feel like that's one of them. And then the next one we have which, oh, this is really interesting, really, really, really interesting. Okay, so I feel like this one here is going to be less about like literal labels, like this person being a witch. I mean, they could, I mean, we're still talking about spirituality here, so they could have some like shamanistic side to them too, but it's more that they're super intuitive. I feel like they're this person that is very spiritually aware, you know, they're very perceptive. So likely they are very aware of metaphysics. They know a lot about, you know, symbolism and just like energy. They're interested in psychology, healing, you know, just like they're connected to nature. They're just this very, very spiritual being here. So you're going to have a lot of those interests in common is what I feel here. And just like, they're mysterious with this, you know. I feel like they're going to be very emotionally intelligent and just, yeah, you're going to have this vibe together where you're just like very spiritually open with one another. And then last one, we have oval face. Okay, so this one is more about their physical appearance. Okay, so yeah, what can I say? Like very straightforward. They will have a bit softer facial proportions. They're going to have, I feel, balanced features and just like this face shape that appears a little bit more gentle, like very harmonious is what I'm sensing here. So yeah, very, very peaceful, very, very nice reading, guys. I feel like, yeah, they're going to be very comforting for you as a person, and it's going to be super, super meaningful as a connection, okay? Sorry about the weird cuts in this video. It's just that I realized that I didn't have the dice and I didn't do the Scrabble, because normally I don't do these things. So of course, I'm here again, I'm back, and let's do the dice. So first of all, I'm going to start with this just because this is simply, I will do it 3 times. Okay, so first one is going to be for the sun sign, and then next one is going to be for the moon sign, and then third one is going to be for the rising sign, okay, of this person. So let's check out their sun. Okay, so a Libra sun, we got that one there. And then let's check out their moon sign. All right, so Aquarius moon. And then for the rising sign, we've got, okay, so this is Capricorn. Yeah, I feel like it makes sense to have Capricorn as rising there, especially since they are very earthy and like more successful. And the Aquarius moon too explains this whole spirituality, like the witchy thing, like them being a little bit of an unusual energy here. Libra also like is connected to justice here as well, so it explains the fact that they are very balanced. They have this more diplomatic nature. And I just realized that I had taken out my little microphone thing from my phone that is recording this. So if you find that my voice sounds a little bit unusual right now in comparison to the previous recording, this is why. I'm gonna try to talk a little bit louder. And now let's finish off with the Scrabble before I cut again and go to my outro. So let me just zoom out a little bit here. And let's take some of these out and just see here what kind of names we can get from these letters. Okay, so first one out, we have I. And if this, of course, it can also mean their initials. Oh man, this is a jumper. Then we have an S here, maybe Isaac, I don't know. I again, and then Isis. And that's a name. And then we have N. And then we have U. E. This is a name in Swedish, actually. Soon, if the U would be there instead, that would be a name as well. I have A, G. I'm gonna finish this one with B, and then we're gonna do the other row here with M, O, and E. This is another name, Mo. Then we have N, O again, and then another U. And lastly, we have a K here. Okay, oh, you can't really see that. Let me just pull it down a little bit more. And let me know. I'm gonna see if I can get some names from this, but also, of course, let me know in the comments if you can see the name of your person here, if you already have your suspicions about who this might be. So first one I'm seeing here is Mia, M-I-A. Then, of course, we can do Mina as well. That is another one. We have also, yeah, Simon is another name. Also M-A-S-O-N, Mason. Also, wait, so M-A-G-N-U-S, Magnus. That's a very Swedish name as well. Also N-A-O-M-I, Naomi. A-G-N-E-S is Agnes. N-I-N-A is Nina. K-E-N, Ken from Barbie. Or also we could do Ben, right? Because yeah, there's a B there, so B and Ben. Also Bo is a name. I feel like we have Micah here too, right? M-I-K-A, yeah, Micah. And also Kai, yeah. So I'm gonna leave it at that, and let me know in the comments if you can see any more names here with the Scrabble. And now I'm gonna cut and jump to my outro that I have recorded before I came back here to record the Scrabble. So yeah. So if this reading resonated with you, feel free to like and subscribe if you feel comfortable doing so, of course. And also, I'd really love to hear from you in the comments, especially if this future spouse energy feels familiar to you, if this is someone that you've been actively trying to manifest, if it's someone that you might already know this is, let me know as well. And also, if you felt drawn to another pile, you can check out the timestamps in the description or in the comments and explore that one as well. And thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!